One dead, three others injured following Northwest Austin shooting. The Austin Police Department and Williamson County Sheriff's Office responded to the incident on Oro Valley Trail. Here's what we know. This was published by KVUE, which is a news organization owned by ABC, published on June 12, 2022, first published at 9:03 p.m. Austin, Texas. A person is dead and three others were injured following a shooting in Northwest Austin on Sunday night. The Austin Police Department, APD, and Williamson County Sheriff's Office responded to the incident around 7:20 p.m. in the 12,600 block of Oro Valley Trail after receiving a report about a shooting. APD also reported that a car had crashed into a fence along the road in connection to the shooting. The driver of the car was pronounced dead at the scene and two others were taken to the hospital with gunshot wounds. Officials said the driver of the car was shot. Another person was also shot and hospitalized and is expected to be okay. That person was not in the car with the driver and two others, APD said. Officials said the shooting was between two groups of people and started at Modena Trail as a verbal altercation. One of the groups left the scene in a car. It is unknown how many people were in the second car. Authorities said the Williamson County Sheriff's deputy would take the lead on the investigation. No other details were immediately available. Once again, stupid arguments between people in our country, in America, end up too many times with gunfire being exchanged. It doesn't have to be this way. People will fight. People will still have arguments. And yes, people will still commit murder and hurt each other. But we could definitely mitigate it by reducing the number of guns in the country and abolishing the Second Amendment, because this doesn't happen in Canada, France, the UK, Germany, any other country that we think we are better than because we are American, right? But also in Austin, it was going down this weekend. APD investigating officer-involved shooting that left one dead in North Austin. This was published on June 12th, the same day as that mass shooting that happened there. So, Austin, Texas. The Austin Police Department is investigating after a person died following an officer-involved shooting in North Austin. Chief Joseph Chacon says at approximately 12:13 p.m. on Sunday, June 12th, an officer on standard patrol observed a vehicle in the 800 block of E. Koenig Lane near Airport Boulevard that appeared to be disabled. The officer went to check on the vehicle and observed one occupant in the vehicle. Within 1 minute of being on scene, the officer advised dispatch that the individual was quite irate, was yelling, was acting in an erratic manner. Chief Joseph Chacon and Austin Police said. APD says the subject had a knife in his hand, prompting the responding officer to call in for backup. 3 additional officers came to assist. They began to attempt to engage the individual in conversation and to see if they could de-escalate his very agitated mood, Chacon said. Officers spoke to him in English and Spanish. The male was yelling, "Just shoot me," Chacon said. The officers kept trying to de-escalate, and one of them got a less lethal shotgun ready as the subject began to advance towards the officers. APD says the officer fired a less lethal round at the subject as he continued to advance towards the officer with a knife in his hands. The subject then continued to advance on the officers with the knife in his hand, at which time 2 of the officers deployed their APD-issued firearms, striking the individual, Chacon said. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced deceased at 1:09 p.m. Just by reading this story, in my opinion, this is a person who was mentally unill and wanted death by blue, death by cop. You know, he wanted to commit suicide by being shot by the police. He had a knife. He didn't have a gun, of course, but my argument still stands that the reason why police are on edge so much is because our society is proliferated with weapons, and that gives them cause to be more cautious and more likely to pull the trigger when incidents could be de-escalated. Not saying that if we lived in an alternate timeline where there were no guns in America, there wouldn't still be crazy people who want to be shot by the police. That's not what I'm saying. Of course, there will probably still be that because crazy people will always exist in our society. But I think if we're being reasonable here, we need to mitigate the number of guns in our society because the police are ready to shoot whenever you think you have a gun. And also, too many officers are killed by civilians with guns, and that needs to stop. So, no officers or other citizens were hurt. Police say they're investigating how many shots were fired. I woke up and I heard like 14 shots, a witness who wanted to remain anonymous said. How many times and I heard the shots, and how many shots I heard, for me to find out it was the police actually shooting at someone, that was kind of crazy. I don't know whether or not I had an individual that was in mental health distress, and the difficulty in dealing with that are officers that are trying to de-escalate that situation, and an individual with a knife. It's just a tragic situation and not one that I like coming to. I know our officers don't like being involved in this kind of manner. Chacon said, "We'll just continue to work as a community to work on those issues so they don't really come to a head as tragically as this one did. There will be criminal and administrative investigations in the case with the DA's office and Office of Police Oversight. The body cam video will be released within 10 days. The subject's identity has not been released, but he is described as a Hispanic male, possibly in his 30s. If you have any information or video of the incident, call police." So, once again, we live in a sick society in America. We are the embarrassment to the world by the number of mass shootings that continue to happen while we proclaim to be the freest, safest, greatest country on earth. It's sick, and disgusting. We need to get rid of the guns in our country, and so we can save American lives. If you're a Second Amendment advocate, you will never truly be a true patriot to America, because you love your rifle, your pistol, more than you will ever love any American. Thank you for watching.